welcome back to Lindy's YouTube channel. My name is Aditi and I am back with inspiration for y'all. Today I am going to be playing with two sets from the new release of Shakers. One is the Kissing Klimt and the other is Winnie's View. So I will be using these two sets for my creation, and what I'm going to show you is how to color stamped images using Lindy's in two different ways. After we finish doing that, I will show you how I have used those images to create some beautiful cards. So let's dive right in. First up, we need watercolor paper because, of course, Lindy's we will be watercoloring. So I am going to stamp images from this Altenew stamp set called Lovely Camelias, and I will just stamp the floral clusters 2 times for my two techniques. I am using my stamp wheel because I want to get a nice crisp image, and I'm using black pigment ink. This is the obsidian ink. And over that, I will be using the Black Forest Black embossing powder from Lindy's to emboss the outline. So that's a look at that embossed outline. Now, I like to do this for two reasons. One, my ink is going to dry faster since I've put that embossing powder. But the most important reason is it gives me a nice, crisp, bold outline. And since I will be watercoloring, it makes sure to keep the color trapped in. So I will finish stamping and embossing the other two outline images and then be back to show you how we color them. So that's a look at the first image, and I am going to use Das Work Wine and Kissing Couple Crimson, both from Kissing Klimt set, as well as Gustav's Gold Leaf and Every Picture Tells a Story to color this. Now, while I was playing around and swatching colors, I had done a test sample. So this is nothing but resist embossing, where I have used white embossing powder and heat set that through a stencil, and I have used Every Picture Tells a Story, just sprinkled and misted with water. So I have a nice background here already for the card, and I want my flower cluster over this, and that's the reason why I have chosen these colors. So for the first technique, we are going to be using a water mister and sprinkling colors directly. And first, I am going to actually mist this with water so that when I sprinkle, everything starts flowing. Now I am going to begin with Gustav's Gold Leaf right in the middle of the flower center to bring in that yellow there. And I will further mist it with my spray mister, water mister. Now you do see the color going here and there everywhere. So I do have a scrap piece, and I am going to just blot that because I want to add a lot of the other colors there. A little bit of a yellow doesn't hurt, but I would like to just keep that clean. I can go in adding a little more color, and then I will use a paintbrush and just dab 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 to get the particles a little mixed, and that gives me, the orange and just these different shades that we have here. So of course I have a clean pot of water to just clean my brush between colors, and I am then going to, from a distance, just spray a little more water and begin with crimson for the petals. And at the tips, I am going to add the wine. Misting that with water to get all of that further reactive. And dabbing a little here and there with the paintbrush like we did earlier, just to get the particles flowing and creating the rainbow with all that pigment. And I'll just go back in, add a little more of the wine at places. And I will first give this a quick dry before moving ahead. And now for the leaves, I am going to mix up the yellow and the teal. So just misting the leaves with water. I'm sprinkling the teal and the gold. And I'm not dabbing too much, just gently here and there wherever I feel like I want the color to move a bit. Because with this technique, you want to leave it natural, you want to leave it a little splotchy and organic. And you can stop the moment you feel you're happy with your colors. You feel like there is scope for adding more, you can go ahead, just dry between layers and add color as you like. So I will set this aside to dry and bring back my two images for the next technique. So for the next technique, we will be painting with Lindy. So I am going to bring my palette out and I'm mixing colors. I am going to be using Roll in the Hay and Here's Looking at Your Olive for the leaves. And for the flowers, I will be using the Gustav's Gold Leaf, Cafe Terrace Tangerine, and Kissing Couple Crimson. But what I'm going to do is spray water on my palette first. And then sprinkle the shakers and mix them with my paintbrush, and that gives us watercolors. And in this, then the scope of getting that plethora of colors, the rainbows, is lesser because we are going to be nicely mixing it all up, making sure that all the particles are well mixed with the water, creating that watercolor. Now, as much pigment as you put is how intense it is going to be. So it really depends on you. If you're somebody who wants it light, then lesser pigment. And if you like it bright and intense, then of course, add in a little more pigment. And now, like any other watercoloring, we will begin coloring these images. So I am going to clean my paintbrush and make sure I have a clean pot of water. And I'll begin again with the flower center, first just going in with clean water and dropping in the yellow. And I'm simultaneously going to color both these flowers. And then I will begin coloring the petals. So I have in mind to begin adding the crimson and then the orange and creating a nice shaded look. Since this is not a very large image, I don't have to work petal by petal. I can quickly add that and bringing the orange and then get all of that flowing. So I'm going to first add the cafe terrace orange and then I will go in and blend the two colors. So this is quick loose watercoloring. This is not illustrative watercoloring. It's just something very quick and easy by dropping in the water color and making sure the colors blend together. Just going in with the yellow to add a little more shading at places. Just dotting and dabbing and continuing to shade. So again, I will dry between layers for this as well. And in the same way, I will color the leaves, beginning with the yellow and then adding the green. So this particular yellow, which was roll in the hay, when used, it's more like a burnt yellow green, and that gives me such a great shading for the leaves by adding that inwards and picking in the olive from the tip creates a nice shade for the leaf. Just like that, I will finish coloring this second flower and be back. Now, as a finishing touch on both the images, I am going to use this glitzy magical gold, again misted with water, and add gold splatter. While I'm still doing that, I will also go in with some white acrylic ink and add white splatter. And then I can set these images aside to dry and die cut them and show you how I use them on the card. So that is a look at the first card. I used that same background, mounted it on black card base, and I've just added a little gold thread underneath the focal image and a sentiment all uprooted for dimension. Now for the second card, I thought I'll quickly show you a different technique for the background, just using these stunning watercolor images as our focal. So what I have here is a piece of white cardstock. So this is 4 inches by 5 and a quarter, because my ultimate card is going to be an A2 card with the black edging like that previous card. And I have a piece of vellum cut to the same size, and a piece of this double-sided adhesive sheet, again cut almost to the same size. This is just slightly smaller than the vellum piece and the cardstock piece. So first what I am going to do is adhere this sticky sheet onto the vellum. Now I'll repeat the same process on the other side, removing the backing gently, and first adhere that onto my white card base. And now the idea is, of course, these are going to be the focal images, but right behind them, I want to emboss just the flower outline with the same Black Forest black we used earlier. Okay, so even before stamping out an outline, I decided I want the sentiment embossed in place, and my focal composition is going to be around that. So I want to add sending birthday wishes on my stamp, on my card, and I am going to first align that in position. And for this, I will use embossing ink and emboss that with Black Forest black. Now with the sentiment all in place, I can now place my floral clusters and decide where I would like that black floral outline of the flower. So I will definitely go for the smaller one. I think that looks much more better here, and have that down in place. And I will again be using the embossing ink to stamp and emboss that. And I mounted that entire card panel to my card base. Of course, I've added white and gold splatter, and I've used foam tape, brought back that gold string, and completed the card with sequins. So that's a look at these two cards. Very different looks. One is so colorful and vibrant. This is colorful and vibrant but has such a subtle background, and I thought this variation would be good for you. Of course, along with coloring with the shakers in two different ways. So that is a closer look at the cards with all that gorgeous pigment powder and the coloring, and I am very happy with the outcome. I do hope that I have inspired you all today, and I look forward to reading your comments as well as your creations. Until the next time, take care and bye bye.